I feel that there's so much chaos at Christmas. I think it's just very, very nice to have a grounded, cohesive backdrop to a room. It's a joint effort. The children are very helpful. My husband is quite helpful. If I was to pull one piece out, the whole thing would come apart. It's just a crazy rush to find that unique piece. Hi, I'm Birdie Fortescue, and this is how I live with style. The house is in North Norfolk, and we've lived here for 15 years. It's early 19th century. At the moment, we're in the drawing room, which is the most formal room in the house, which we use for entertaining mainly. This room was in fact the garage when we bought it. It was a 3-bay garage, which gave us the perfect opportunity to create 3 pairs of doors here, which lead out onto the garden, and another one here. So it's a room which gives fantastic light. We also took the ceiling up into the eaves, and that allows for a wonderfully tall Christmas tree. It's a 12-foot Christmas tree, and I'm ashamed to say and confess that in fact it's not real. It certainly saves the planet, but it doesn't have the wonderful qualities that a real one would have. What I love about this tree is this wonderful teasel. It's painted teasel, it's from Holland, and it's sort of a tasteful version of tinsel, and I just love the way it gives that sort of flowing effect without being gaudy and sparkly. I like a tree to be decorated in relationship to the room. I don't want it to stand out like a sore thumb. I feel that there's so much chaos at Christmas with thousands of people and masses of wrapping paper and presents, and I think it's just very, very nice to have a grounded, cohesive backdrop to a room. My children would obviously prefer a much brighter, more fun tree with various baubles and lots of colour. In their early teens, you know, they thought I was really boring, but I think that they now understand that it looks quite nice. This piece of furniture is a games table. It's a French table. They call them trick-track tables, table à trick-track, and they are wonderful pieces of furniture, which I used to sell a lot of them when I was dealing in furniture in a big way. It's chess and drafts on the top, and then on the other side you have bays for cards, so that's really nice. And then underneath you have backgammon. This piece came from Montpellier Antique Fair. The fair's open at 8 a.m. and the antique dealers and the buyers all arrive at the same time, and it's just a crazy rush, and so sometimes there's a little bit of argy-bargy. This part of the house was created by 2 farm buildings either side of this area, and the architect that we bought the house from had joined the 2, creating this wonderful glazed roof, which creates this amazing space full of light. It just is such a happy place to be. The table, again, was bought in a market in France. It's an old refectory table. Actually, it was a trip that Frank, my husband, was with me on, so we found it together, which was really nice. It's wonderfully narrow, so it creates a great opportunity for conversation. You can talk to anyone on the table, and it's very inclusive. For Christmas, obviously I like to make a big effort for the tablescape, and I think the most important element is a tablecloth. I think that really sets the foundation. I love having candlesticks down the length of the table of varying heights and varying colours. It just gives that lovely sort of undulating flow. We've decorated the table with these fun apple slices. You slice them very finely and bake them in the oven for a very short time, and catch them before they discolour. For Christmas, it's a joint effort. The children are very helpful. My husband is quite helpful. We would have drinks with family in the drawing room with presents, and then have lunch, I don't know, perhaps a late lunch, 1:30 to. Invariably there's a huge delay with the cooking. I've made huge errors in the past, overcooking a turkey and undercooking a turkey. And even though I've got years of experience, it still always seems to go wrong. So on Christmas morning, the first thing we do is go to church. The service is at 9 o'clock, so we get out of bed, get dressed quickly and walk over the field to this beautiful church, which is so special. It's a very short service, and so we are normally back by about 9:45, having breakfast and opening our stockings. So here we are in the entrance hall, and obviously we've got the mistletoe, a wonderful branch of mistletoe which is hanging very low, so it's pretty difficult to miss, bashing your head against it, and a great opportunity for kissing your visitors. These were the original flagstones of the house. When we bought the house, they were covered in new tiles, which we took up, and it was such a joy to see the original flagstones underneath. Love their character. One of the things I love about the house is this staircase, which has so many wonderful details. It's got this fabulous mahogany handrail, and then the view of it going up is just so pretty. For Christmas, we've interwoven a pine and eucalyptus with twine in amongst the spindles and created this lovely sort of loose effect, and then put some very fine lights. We're now in the master bedroom, which is a room I obviously love. It's so peaceful and decorated in a combination of blues that really work well together. I was very wary of blue being a very cold colour, but here you can see that you've got warm blues, warm turquoisey blues, you've got darker denim-y blues. When they're all mixed together, it just creates this wonderful story, and it seems like it's a combination of colours rather than just being one. One of my favourite pieces in the room is these panels. They originated from a Japanese screen that we divided up, and it seemed a great crime to do this. But you know, we've got so much appreciation and use out of them by doing it, and I think it's been really effective. My advice to people who've got a lot of wall space to cover is not to be precious. Paintings, objects, panels on a wall don't need to be expensive, they don't need to be special, but they just need to have a special meaning to you. One of my favourite rooms in the house is the guest bedroom. It's dual aspect, it looks both east and south, so to wake up in that room is just such a joy, and particularly with such amazing views. One feature that people always remark on is the bath, the freestanding bath being directly in front of the window and being able to look out from the bath onto this amazing view. It makes you feel very fortunate to live in Norfolk. This part of the house was a barn where the animals used to be kept, and it's now where we spend most of our time. It's got fantastic ceiling height, and it's part of the open plan space that we love. It was quite a challenge to decorate, and I found these fantastic lanterns, hanging lanterns from a dealer in France, and they are incredibly heavy and suspended, I don't know quite how, on one of the rafters. And although they're enormous and might not seem very cosy, they bring the ceiling down and they ground the room. And I think that the height is also reflected with this wonderful bookcase here, this mahogany bookcase, balanced with the double doors into the smaller sitting room with the picture above the doorway. My great friend Georgie of Georgie's Garden Flowers helped with this fantastic decoration with wonderful amaryllis for Christmas. And I've been friends with Georgie for a very long time, sort of since we were 18. So shall we go through to the sitting room? This is our sitting room, which is a wonderfully cosy, traditionally decorated room. It's very peaceful and relaxing to be in. It's where at Christmas we play backgammon, we read, watch TV. It's somewhere to escape the craziness of Christmas, and my husband is particularly fond of being in here. So at Christmas, a family favourite is James Bond, but we have watched them all 1,000 times. So very cheesy, but perhaps my go-to is Love Actually, or something equally corny. These stockings I love. When we moved to the country, when we were first married, I bought them from Chelsea Textiles, and we bring them out every Christmas. They're not enormous, so invariably there's a pillowcase as well for the presents. When I bought my first flat, I was working at Colfax and Fowler, and I realised that a real investment would be to buy the sofa and armchair, which are from Howard chairs, and I covered them in a Colfax and Fowler print. They were the first sort of major investment, furniture-wise, I ever bought. The mantelpiece here is decorated with pine, with eucalyptus and cones, and by using a lot of twine and blue tack and patience, they're all intertwined so that it's all one piece. So if I was to pull one piece out, the whole thing would come apart. I hope you've enjoyed seeing what my house is like at Christmas. And don't forget to subscribe to the Times Life and Style YouTube channel.